What's your emergency?
My son. He swallowed a battery. He's throwing up blood. Please help.
How old is he?
2. He's 2. There's so much blood.
Ambulance is coming. Stay calm. Keep him upright.
Hurry, please!
It was Saturday morning when I went to pick up Liam. My ex-wife, Jessica, opened the door and gave me that look. You know, that I trust you but not completely kind of look. She said, 2 days. Bring him back Sunday evening, 6 o'clock. I nodded. I know. Liam had his little backpack on, clothes, toys, his sleeping blanket. Jessica bent down, kissed him and said, "Be good for Daddy, okay, baby?" Liam nodded, and we left. We got in my car, and I remember feeling happy. It was only our second weekend together after the divorce. The first one had been a disaster. Liam cried the whole time. He kept saying, "I want Mommy." And I didn't know what to do. But this time, I thought things would be better. I had a plan. The park, pizza, fun stuff. I'm 32. Jessica and I divorced 6 months ago after 3 years of marriage. They were good years at first, but things changed. We argued, grew distant, and that was it. Now I only see my son on weekends. I pick him up Saturday morning, return him Sunday evening. 2 days, 48 hours. It never feels like enough, but that's what the court decided. They called it a father adaptation period. I'd rented a small apartment, 1 bedroom, a living room, a tiny kitchen. Way smaller than Jessica's house, but I tried to make a little space just for Liam. Toys, a small bed, colorful walls. When he first saw it, I said, "This is your room." He looked around and said, "It's small." That hurt a bit. But I smiled and said, "Yeah, but it's ours." That Saturday morning we went to the store. I wanted to get him something special, a gift he'd love. In the toy section I saw these musical cards, the kind that sing when you press them. Liam's eyes lit up. He pointed and said, "That one? I didn't even check it. I just bought it." We got back in the car, he opened the box, pulled out the cards, pressed one, and it started playing songs. He laughed, and I laughed too. And for a second I thought, this is it. This is the father-son moment I was waiting for. Everything's going to be fine. But 2 hours later, everything changed. It became the worst day of my life. I almost lost my son. And Jessica, she would have been right to say, "I told you, I can't trust you." We got home. I made lunch. Just sandwiches and chips, simple stuff. I was never as good in the kitchen as Jessica. Liam ate, then went to the living room to play with his musical cards. I sat on the couch, opened my laptop, just wanted to check a few work emails. 5 minutes, I told myself. He was only 2 meters away. I could see him. Safe distance. But I got lost in those emails. 5 minutes turned into 10, maybe 15. Then I heard a sound. Strange, like a cough, but heavier, almost like choking. I looked up. Liam was standing there. The musical card was in his hand, but it was open. The back cover was off, and something was in his mouth. I jumped up, ran to him. "Liam, what's in your mouth?" He looked at me, eyes wide, terrified, and swallowed. My heart stopped. "What did you swallow?" I yelled. He started crying. I grabbed the card. The back panel was open, the battery compartment empty. And I froze. The battery. The button battery. He swallowed it. "Oh my God! Oh my God, Liam!" I shouted. I grabbed my phone, opened Google, typed "toddler swallowed battery." The screen filled with warnings. "Call 911 immediately. Life-threatening emergency. Can cause death within hours." I panicked. My hands were shaking. I couldn't breathe. I scooped Liam into my arms. "When did you do this?" I asked. But he was too little to understand. He just cried and cried. For a second I thought, should I call Jessica? Number 911 first. Then Jessica. I called 911. My hands were trembling so hard I almost dropped the phone. The operator answered. "My son swallowed a battery," I said, voice cracking, tears coming out before I even realized. The operator told me to stay calm, asked for my address. I gave it. She said, "An ambulance is on the way." "How long?" I asked. 5 minutes. 5 minutes felt like forever. I looked at Liam, still crying, and then he coughed and threw up. Just a small amount, but there was red in it. Blood. Not much, but enough. "No, no, no," I screamed. "Liam, baby, it's okay. Help is coming." But it wasn't okay. And all I could think was, if Jessica finds out, if she hears that I almost killed our son, she'll take him from me. I'll never see him again. But then another thought hit me. Who cares about Jessica? Liam is dying. My son is dying. And I don't know if I can stop it. The sirens finally came. The ambulance stopped right in front of my building. I opened the door and ran outside with Liam in my arms. He was crying. I was crying. And 2 paramedics got out, a young woman and an older man. They asked what happened, and I told them, "He swallowed a battery, he's throwing up blood." The female paramedic took Liam from me, looked inside his mouth, and asked, "How long ago?" I said I didn't know. Maybe an hour, maybe more. I was checking emails. I wasn't paying attention. The male paramedic looked at me, that judging look, and I felt so ashamed. We got inside the ambulance. They placed Liam on the stretcher, gave him oxygen, started an IV on his tiny arm. He screamed, and I cried, saying, "I'm sorry, baby, I'm so sorry." The female paramedic turned to me and said, "Dad, you need to calm down. He can feel your energy. You're scaring him." And she was right. But how could I calm down? The ambulance started moving fast. The siren was blaring. The male paramedic spoke into the radio, saying, 2-year-old male button battery. Ingestion. Approximate time unknown. Hematemesis present. Patient conscious. ETA 4 minutes. My phone started ringing in my pocket. It was Jessica, probably a video call. She called every day to talk to Liam. I didn't answer. I couldn't. What was I supposed to say? "Hey Jess, Liam swallowed a battery. We're in an ambulance." The phone stopped, then rang again. A message popped up. "David, why aren't you answering? Is Liam okay?" The female paramedic saw the screen and asked, "Partner?" I said, "Ex-wife. Liam's mother." She said, "You should tell her." I said, "I know, but how?" She shrugged and said, "Tell her the truth." My hands were shaking as I typed the message. "You need to come to the hospital. Liam swallowed a battery. We're in the ambulance going to Mass General. I sent it." Seconds later, my phone rang again. It was Jessica. I answered and she screamed, "What?" So loud the paramedics heard it. "A battery? How? Where were you?" I said. "He was playing with a musical card. I just looked away for a second." She yelled, "A second? Our son could die because you looked away for a second?" And she was right. Every word she said was right. I said, "I'm sorry." That's all I could say, and she said, "I'm coming," and hung up. We arrived at the hospital. They rushed Liam inside, straight to the trauma room, and I ran after them. The doctors were waiting, ready. They placed him on the table, and a female doctor came in. Dr. Martinez. She started asking questions, and I answered everything I could. When, how, what kind of battery, how big. She said, "We need an emergency X-ray." And they took Liam into another room. I stayed behind, in the hallway, alone, sitting on a plastic chair with my head in my hands, crying. 10 minutes later, Jessica came running in. Her hair was a mess, no makeup, panic all over her face. When she saw me, her expression changed, pure anger. "Where is he?" she asked. "Inside, getting an X-ray," I said. She walked closer, her voice low but full of venom. "How did this happen, David? How?" I said, "I bought him a toy, a musical card. He liked it. He was playing, and I was checking emails and—" "Emails?" she interrupted, disbelief in her eyes. "You were alone with our son, and you were checking emails." "Just 5 minutes," I said, and she exploded. 5 minutes is enough. A child can die in 5 minutes. Are you even a father? Are you even responsible? And I had no answer because she was right. Then Dr. Martinez came out and looked at both of us. "Are you the parents?" she asked. We both said yes. She said, "We found the battery." It showed up on the X-ray. It's stuck in the lower part of the esophagus, hasn't passed into the stomach yet. That's bad, because if it stays there, it burns the tissue. Jessica covered her mouth. "Burns?" she asked. "Yes," said Dr. Martinez. "It generates an electrical current and causes chemical burns. Within 2 hours, it can cause serious damage, even a perforation." Jessica's voice trembled. "What are you going to do?" The doctor said. "Endoscopy." "Surgery." "We're going to remove it." Jessica gasped. "Surgery?" "Yes, immediately. We'll insert an endoscopic tube through the throat, extract the battery, and check for damage." Dr. Martinez said. "How long will it take?" I asked. 20 to 30 minutes, but longer if there's severe injury." Jessica turned to me and said, "This is your fault. If anything happens to him, I will never forgive you." And what could I say? I couldn't even forgive myself. They took Liam to surgery. The doors closed, and Jessica and I were left alone in the waiting room. We didn't talk. She sat on one side, I sat on the other, at least 5 meters between us. And there was silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. 10 minutes passed, then 15. Jessica started crying quietly, and I wanted to get up, to go to her, to comfort her. But I couldn't. I was the reason for all this. If I stood up, she might scream, maybe even push me away. 20 minutes passed, then 25. Still no one came out. Jessica suddenly stood up, panic in her eyes. "It's taking too long," she said. "Something's wrong." "They said 20 to 30 minutes." I told her. "It's been 25!" she shouted. And just then the doors opened, and Dr. Martinez walked out. We both ran toward her. Dr. Martinez said, "We removed the battery." And Jessica let out a breath of relief, whispering, "Thank God." But I saw it in the doctor's face. There was an but. I asked, "But what?" And she said, "There's damage." 2 areas of the esophagus show deep burns, 2nd degree, with tissue damage, redness, swelling. One spot is extremely thin, almost perforated. If we had waited a few more hours, it would have opened up. Jessica covered her face with both hands and started crying. And I cried too. I asked, "How close were we to losing him?" The doctor said, "Very close. Maybe 2 hours, maybe 3. Then the esophagus would have ruptured, leaking into the chest cavity. Sepsis. The risk of death would have been high." Jessica dropped to her knees right there in the waiting room, sobbing uncontrollably. I asked, "Can we see him?" And Dr. Martinez nodded. "Yes, he's in recovery. He's waking up." She led us down the hall into a small room, and there he was, Liam, lying on a hospital bed, eyes half open. When he saw Jessica, he whispered, "Mommy." His voice was raspy, painful, but he could speak. Jessica ran to him, hugged him tight, and kept saying, "My baby, my sweet baby." Liam cried and held on to her, and I stood there, watching them, thinking that all of this, the pain, the tears, was my fault. Then Liam looked at me with sad, glassy eyes and said, "Daddy?" I walked closer, held his tiny hand and said, "I'm here, buddy." He pointed to his throat and said, "Hurts." I said, "I know, I'm so sorry." He nodded, whispering, "Okay, Daddy." Those 2 words broke me completely, because it wasn't okay. It would never truly be okay. Dr. Martinez explained what would happen next. He'd stay in the hospital for a few days, on antibiotics, painkillers, IV feeding, no food until his esophagus healed, and the recovery would be slow. Maybe a week, maybe 10 days. Jessica said, "I'll stay with him." Every night, she didn't even look at me. It was as if I didn't exist. That night, I went home. The apartment was empty and silent. Liam's toys were scattered across the floor. The musical cards were still there, still open, their battery compartments empty. I picked them up, all of them, and threw them in the trash. Then I sat on the floor and cried. The next morning, I went to the hospital early. I wanted to see Liam, but Jessica was standing at the door. She said, "Maybe not today." I said, I just want to see my son. She said, he needs rest. I said, please. She looked at me for a long time and then said, 10 minutes. I walked in. Liam was sleeping. The monitors were beeping softly, the IV running into his tiny arm. He looked so small in that big hospital bed. I sat beside him, held his hand and whispered, I'm so sorry, Liam. Daddy made a big mistake. Daddy should have watched you. He opened his eyes slowly, looked at me and said, Hi, Daddy. He smiled, a weak little smile, and I started crying. I love you so much. I said, Love you too. Liam whispered. Jessica came in and said, Time's up. I stood up to leave, but then she said, David, wait. I stopped. We need to talk, she said. I spoke to my lawyer. We're going to request a re-evaluation of your custody rights. I froze. What do you mean? I asked, but I already knew. Liam's safety was at risk with you. You proved that. Maybe weekend visits should be supervised. Maybe only for a few hours, I said. No, please, he's my son. I made one mistake, but... And she cut me off. One mistake? Our son almost died. That's not a mistake, that's negligence. And she was right. What could I possibly say? Liam stayed in the hospital for 3 days. I went every day. Jessica allowed me 10 minutes each time. On the 3rd day, the doctors said he could go home. Jessica took him back to her house, and I stayed behind. In my empty apartment, with my empty weekend, and the sound of that old musical card still echoing in my head. 1 month later, I can see Liam, but everything has changed. Now I only get him Saturday afternoons, 4 hours, at Jessica's house, and only when she's there, supervised. Liam recovered. His throat healed, he eats, he talks. But the bond between us is damaged. I can feel it when he looks at me. He hesitates. Maybe he remembers, maybe he doesn't, but something is different. Jessica barely speaks to me, only the necessary things. Come at 2. Bring him back at 6. We have a court date in 2 months. Custody and supervision will be re-evaluated. My lawyer says it's going to be hard, says, negligence has been proven. Am I a good father? I don't know anymore. Would a father be checking emails while his child is there? Would a father almost kill his own son? I watch Liam play and laugh and think that I almost lost him over a battery, a tiny 2-centimeter disc that could have killed him within hours. And I couldn't stop it because I was careless. To every dad out there, I keep saying, check the toys. Don't take your eyes off your child. A single second is enough. Some people listen, some say I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. I lived it.